Yeah, good stuff. Somebody told me that Chicago alone represent, people that have migrated here from Chicago, 1 million people.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right here in the valley. I know. It's amazing, the patterns. And did you guys see in the USA Today? Guess what the #1 retirement city is in the country? Did anybody read that this morning? No. Nobody read it. Does anybody read it? No. Pittsburgh. Yeah. Now they base it on.
My hometown.
They base it on like 50 things: affordable health care, similar age groups, climate. But the average temperatures in Pittsburgh is 52. Mesa, I think, was number 8. Mesa, Arizona. They don't even list Scottsdale.
Beautiful city.
Top 50 rounded out New York. Interesting stuff. All right, we got a couple of other new agents. Aubrey, is Aubrey in the house? Nope, don't see Aubrey. Kurt, you didn't know it? Stand up. Introduce yourself.
New to the business, real estate business, but in the past I was a mortgage lender since 1988.
Yep, welcome, Kurt. I didn't see, is David Griffin here? Didn't see him? No. Amy Dillon, Kurt. I got Justin Bemis. Justin Bemis. Anyway. All right, so we're at 100. I'm a wiggler. You're never going to get me to stand right here, Keith. We're up to about 190 agents. We're very close to doing $1 billion in sales this year. I think we're going to. We need. Is anybody brokering a $100 million or $50 million deal? That's about what we need. So if you know a commercial agent that's brokering a $50 million building, see if you can get them to come over to Remax and we can hit $1 billion. But we're gonna be really, really close. So some good stuff. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Thank you guys so much for participating. We went $1,000 over our goal. We raised $2,500 for breast cancer. What was the stat? It's every
13 minutes.
Every 13 minutes somebody dies of breast
cancer. Yeah.
So great, good job for that. In this month, we're doing the emergency food bank. Please bring in any non-perishable items to the front desk. The month of December, all the food banks, they go through a lot of food for the homeless, etc. Today is Birthday Friday. We're celebrating everybody's birthdays today, even though it's not Friday. So lunch is being held. Who's catering?
Barrows.
Barrows. All right. So you don't have to leave the building.
So we're doing this building. Go to the
Helping Hands. Go ahead and expand on that.
Arizona Helping Hands, we're doing a holiday toy drive for children this year that won't receive presents. So you can bring an unwrapped toy worth $25 or more and just drop it in the box in the lobby at our main office.
So you guys can see Bethany has really helped us step up the philanthropy. It's very
What's the
fun.
last date for that?
When's the last day for that, Bethany?
December 4th.
December 4th. All right. No sales meeting in the month of December. As you guys know, we have our holiday party. Hopefully, we have RSVPs already out for that.
We do, yeah. Just RSVP with the front desk.
All right. And then the deadline. Direct deposit is up and running.
Yay.
You want to expand on that, Matthew?
Yeah, so we are up and running. It should be about the same turnaround time as any normal check. So if I get in your package and your paperwork is complete, then you'll have it, we'll process it that day and it'll hit your account the very next
And I've won our bet, haven't I? How many people are officially in the program?
So far we're right at about 50.
Oh, wow. Then I lost. I lost our bet.
That's pretty much what you said would say.
Oh, all right. Well done.
So there is no deadline to sign up though. I wanna
Oh, yeah.
emphasize that.
Yeah, we wouldn't. You could get on that program anytime you want.
There is a nominal charge on that the bank charges us, so it is passed on to the agents. So we do it on calendar years, so January 1st through December 31st. So if you join now, it will be prorated, and it's $5 a month basically.
All right, so I believe they're going to let me kick off my portion this morning. Where's Keith? Where's Keith?
Right here.
Right? So I'm going to go right into this. All right, so I'm going to give you guys some vital information that Darren and I learned yesterday. Our Zillow rep was in, so I'm going to give you I'm going to give you guys some statistics that I think is pretty amazing. Darren, if you don't mind chiming in, because with me on stats, I get them about half right. So in this study, this was a study from, what's that?
You get half right 100%.
Yeah, I get him half right 100% of the time. So this study was done over a 3-year period, 15,000 leads, 10,000 call attempts. What it's going to give you is vital.
100,000.
Yeah, okay, see, I know. There you go. All right, so I'm going to get it about right. I didn't get a chance to study this. Darren and I saw this presentation at about noon yesterday, and then the guy didn't send it till late last night. But what it tells you is that speed for the lead is absolutely accurate in lead follow-up. So scroll down.
Gotcha.
Keith, thank you. So the best, we have the best days to make contact are Wednesdays, followed by Thursdays, and then Fridays was like a close third. Why is that important? People are busy on Mondays, right? I'm not saying don't call them on Monday. If you wrote an offer over the weekend, Sunday, of course your buyer's going to want to hear from you on Monday, right? So most of this is around orphaned buyers that you're trying to attach or get them into your camp, right? So around lead generation, most of this stuff. So you can see Wednesday is the most popular day, followed by Thursday, and then Friday. Monday and Tuesdays are part of the lowest, right? Does that make sense? All right. Best times to make contact. 8 a.m., guys. Fascinating. We thought it'd be more around 10. Look how it drops at 10. I think the reason for this is they're well into their day by that time, right? They're well into their business, not your business, right? And then look how it peaks again between 4, 5, and 6. Darren, anything on that he shared that was more in depth
No,
on this sector?
4 to 5 is actually the highest.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
So there you go. Right.
After
So you're-
that is 8 o'clock, and then if you look at the right, I can't quite read that.
The qualifying rate?
What's the gray time?
So the gray time is 1 to 2.
So 4 to 5 has 164% greater chance of you actually making contact than between 1 and 2. These are 100,000 internet leads, so you need to understand that.
See, I just hire smart people on my team.
I'm sorry, 15,000 internet leads that they tried to call 100,000 times. And these were spread across, I think, 5 or 10 different companies. So not necessarily just real estate companies, but all types of companies.
So good stuff, right? All right, scroll down. So this gives you a response time. So the best response time, look at the difference here, is in the first 5 minutes. Within the first 5 minutes. So sign call, 5 minutes. This is more like organic search engines where you would be on Zillow, like a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead. But the same thing with sign call. You guys have had sign calls where the people are right in front of the house, right? If you get a chance to answer it, the other day, a sign call, the Diamondback, the pitcher for the Diamondbacks coach called me off a $1.7 million list, and we got him in the house within an hour. Now, hopefully we have picked him up, but this sector here is huge. Look at how it drops. Even when you get to about the 7-minute mark, it goes down substantially, right? And then 30 minutes, you're done.
Right.
You're done. What, isn't that crazy? 30 minutes, man, done. 5 minutes versus 10 minutes. Look at the data, 5 minutes versus 10 minutes on the conversion deal. 400% increase if you can talk to them in the first 5 minutes versus the last 10 minutes. Anyway, I'm going to send this to you guys. I don't have to go in depth. What it basically tells you is speed for the lead. Darren, did we learn? I'm going to send this out so everybody can absorb it themselves.
It's
Anything else?
actually in your
Yeah,
packets
they've
right
got
now.
it.
Oh, good.
The last point there is showing how many times you call the lead.
Yes.
When you get to the 6th time you call them, your conversion rate goes up to 90%.
Right.
But I think they said like 98% of people only call the lead one time.
That is correct. Yeah. So we know, if you guys remember the book of No that we talked about a couple of years ago, that embrace no, right? Push through no. The more call attempts, if you see the 6th time that they hear your brand, 90%. First call, 30, just under 30% call ratio, but look how it goes up into the 6th contact attempt. And then it also goes backwards. The first call is your highest average call attempts per reps, 1. 40% of the people, just under 40% call one time. Guess how many people call 6 times? Less than 7%. Less than 7%. Right? But then look at your hit ratio if you do call 6 times. So you got to push through it.
And
Push
that
through
means 6 times, but nobody ever answers. You just keep calling without that you actually make contact.
Yeah. So look at what.
6 times, you know you can give up on the lead, and you're not missing out.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can say can't be done, you know, or embrace your success for getting to the 6th time, but then also look at the times that you are calling them, and go back to this chart and make sure you're all in between 4 and 5, the highest hit ratio. Anyway, it's in your packets.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sandy, lights please. All right, so I want to say thank you to all of you right off the bat. Beth has done a great job this year, really doing a lot of fundraisers. We do a lot of things for different organizations, and we really appreciate everything that you do as our agents to help those organizations out. Without you, we would never be able to do these things, and it's one of those things that we really try to do back. We try to give back to the community as much as possible. That's the reason we do the blood drives, the blanket drives, and even including the food banks. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate it, so thanks. Our guest speaker today is one of our agents. He is Andrew Spiller. He's one of our agents that just came over not too long ago. He's an estate attorney, and he's going to be talking today about estate planning and what he can do for your business and what your business can do for you.
Thank you. Well, appreciate the opportunity. Again, Andrew Spittler. I'm with Titus Bruckner and Levine. I'm a partner there, and I practice primarily in the areas of estate planning and probate. So idea today is to talk about probate a little bit, talk about your real estate practice, and how an understanding of the basics of probate in Arizona can really help you build your business and make you a more effective agent for your clients. Not the most fun topic. We're talking death, we're talking incapacity, not something that everyone wants to hear about each day or deal with, but what it really represents is an opportunity. So that's the way I want you to look at this and look at the information. Got packets out in front of you. We are certainly not going to go through everything in this packet. I kind of shortened it down, but this was about an hour continuing ed I did for the West Valley Association of Realtors. A lot of good info there, but loosely kind of look at that as we're going through things. So probate, why is probate important to you as an agent? So probate, it's a huge component of our economy. Estimates are that there's about $6 trillion in real estate in the U.S. probate courts right now. Right now in Maricopa County, there's over 25,000 pending probate court cases. 80% of those have real property in them. So there's a lot of property passing through the courts. It is not going to slow down whatsoever. If you look at the baby boomer generation, you know, that's ages 53 to 71 right now. For anyone that falls in that sort of age range, I hate to break it to you, the average life expectancy is around 76, 77 years old, so that means there's going to be an even greater transfer of wealth through the probate courts. In that regard, the probate court represents an opportunity for you to obtain potential listings, to have an understanding when you're taking on a listing as to whether probate applies for your seller, and to be able to look at your own personal estate plan and make sure that you have done the things to avoid the probate court. So I said probate about 15 times. What the heck is it? Probate comes from the Latin word which means to prove. Originally, one had to go to court to prove a will was valid. A will transfers property to heirs. Now it really means estate administration. It means whether someone dies with a will, without a will, if they're incapacitated. It's the whole process of having individuals appointed to represent one's estate or one's person. So how probate works depends on the type of estate. In broad categories in Arizona, there's 3 of them. One called formal, one called informal, one called, it's not really an estate, but a small estate affidavit procedure. If you're in one of the first 2, that means you're in a long process, that you're dealing with the probate courts for probably a year. You're having to get legal authority to transfer real property. If you're in the small one, we're going to talk about what that means and what can be a shortcut for you to be able to get a house listed more quickly with your particular seller. So probate in general, the way to think about it, it's a process. On the 3rd page of your handout, I've got kind of the steps and what it involves. The short of it is, it's as bad as you've heard. The reality is we've got so many pending probate court cases in Arizona. We have 5 probate divisions to handle everyone who doesn't get things planned or plans with a will or is incapacitated. The result is nothing gets done quickly and take a long time to move anything through an estate process. So point number 1 to kind of take away here. Probate applies also to incapacitated individuals. Many of you have likely done transactions involving a power of attorney. Power of attorney appoints someone to be able to undertake an action for you. In a real estate context, it's usually tailored to being able to sell a particular property. Question I get routinely or things that I see done wrong, how do you get a power of attorney? A power of attorney has to be signed by someone who is competent, capable of having a lucid moment. So what that means is, if you're trying to sell a property for your parent, they're incapacitated, maybe they have dementia or Alzheimer's, they have some disability where they can't understand what they're doing. To get their power of attorney, you cannot sign a piece of paper that says, I'm now the power of attorney, I have the authority to sign. The power of attorney has to be signed by the person who's incapacitated before that incapacity arises. So a last second fix, if all of a sudden a home needs to be sold to pay for someone's care, family member, sibling, whatever the case may be, can't do the power of attorney on their own, that has to be done prior to the incapacity. If that doesn't occur, then you're in the probate courts to get the formal authority. It's going to delay that process of selling the home by at least 2 months, probably 3 based on the court backlog, to get an expedited hearing to be able to sell a home. So takeaway number 1, if it looks like there's any chance of an incapacity for you, your family, a client, get those powers of attorney done in place, because it's going to save months of time in the probate court. It's going to save a lot of cost in being able to sell a property. Okay, next big thing, wills. Last will and testament states who you are, who's your family, who inherits. They're great because they get your terms down on a sheet of paper, so those can be followed. The big problem with wills in Arizona: for property in excess of $75,000 or real estate in excess of $100,000, if you use a will to transfer that property on, your will goes to probate. Your will has to go through a formal process where a judge says, yes, this will is valid, this person is appointed, and then they oversee the process of transferring assets. So big takeaway is, if you have a couple or a client, family members come in where someone has passed away and they say, we're all set, we've got a will. Will transfers the property to me so I can go ahead and sell that property. If it's for more than $100,000 of equity, not so fast. That will has to go through probate to get the court's approval before the property can be sold. So big key here is, in that situation, you want to make sure, if someone's telling you they have the ability to sell a home, that they have title because they've inherited a property, you want to make sure that conveyance is completed if probate applies. Otherwise, you're going to get in a situation where you list the home, you get an offer, then all of a sudden you're waiting on a probate court process. Everyone always asks me, how long does probate take? It completely depends on the situation. If there is any dispute as to the validity of the will, as to what family member or friend is the personal representative, as to who receives what share of the proceeds, hearings have to be scheduled. Attorneys are going to send information requests back and forth. It can be years before you get a resolution through in the probate court. So big key is, if someone has inherited a property, make sure their title has vested. It's either gone through probate or they have the full authority to sell the property. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of wasted effort if you do get property listed in a really good contract. Can't go through unless the title is clean. Okay. Small estate affidavits, want to hit on those. So very nice thing in Arizona for property with not a lot of equity in it. Arizona has an exemption that says if a person passes away and they don't have any planning documents done, or maybe they have a basic will, if their total equity in Arizona real estate is $100,000 or less, then the big nasty probate court process can be avoided. It's done by using a small estate affidavit. I've attached that to the back of your paperwork. That's free documentation that can be downloaded from the Maricopa County Superior Courts. That document says, if there are no other creditors, if there's less than $100,000, if there is a qualifying heir, a spouse, a family member, then upon the passing of 6 months of a date of death, that small estate affidavit can be filed with the probate court, costs $268, and the court will stamp it, approve it, and title can be transferred to the beneficiaries. Meaning, the families don't have to go through a huge long probate court process. They just have to wait 6 months from the date of death, and title can immediately be transferred over. That's a much shorter timeline than a full nasty probate. Now on this form, important to note, I put the form in there, but you want to be careful as agents not to be completing that form for your clients, not to be giving them legal advice on how to use that form. That's beyond what you can do as an agent. That's practicing law, and you don't want to get yourself crosswise with a claim later on that you've been illegally practicing law in Arizona. So it's the key, as always, be the source. So the source being, here's a document that you can do, or you should contact an attorney to see if there's a way for a shortcut to get through the probate court process. Having the knowledge to spot these situations is going to make you that expert resource for your clients. It's going to build that stronger relationship. It's going to get you referrals because other families are going to go through the same situation. So the key here is always issue spotting, not so much take on the probate side yourself and try and do the transfers. So probably a really good way to show you how this works in different contexts is to go through a case that I had come in a couple years ago. Call him Bob, come in. So Bob comes in, says, hey, my mom wants to sell her property. I'm going to help her out with the process. We hired an agent, got an offer in, but we're running into problems. Here's what we've got. The title to the home is in his mother's parents' name, so his grandparents. His grandparents bought this property, I think it was in the 30s or 40s, it was a long time ago. They passed away, one in the 1970s, one in the 1980s. Nothing was ever done with their estates. On the title, they took title together as tenants in common for some reason. Now, we want to get this one. Grandfather had passed away first. If grandmother and grandfather had done a correct deed titling, so if they had done it as joint tenants with right of survivorship, as community property with right of survivorship, or had put that home in the trust, the home would have automatically gone to grandmother as the surviving spouse. Because that was not done, we had to probate the estate of grandfather to transfer all of his interests to grandmother. So probate number one, we get filed, we get through passing everything over to grandmother, but remember grandmother's also deceased. Grandmother did not have a will, did not have any planning done, so now we have to probate her estate now that grandfather's estate is done. So 8 months through, we got done with the grandfather, now we're starting the grandmother. Starting to work through the grandmother's side. She didn't have a will or any directions down. She had three children, 2 of which had predeceased her, but had children of their own, and then my client's mother. Now we're in a situation where we want to get everything down to client's mother, but we've got these other family members. 2 of the family members, 2 of the other children, decided, hey, this looks good. We get a chance of the proceeds. We're going to come in and claim a portion of this house so that we can have a payday at the end of the day. Great, so we have to fight that. The other side, no one had contact with them for 20 years. We don't know where they are. Meaning we can't serve them with the lawsuit. So to proceed, we had to get special approval from the probate court to publish in the newspaper in Arizona and the states where they last resided on some chance that they might see the proceedings. So by the time we do the publication and get through all of those, that's 6 months before we can even start. In the meantime, we're working through with the other grandchildren, trying to come up to a reasonable settlement. ultimately ended up writing them a check to go away and waive and sign off on the process. So now we're nearly 2.5 years in, and we finally have the authority to transfer the property over to my client's mother. About the time we get that done, my client's mother falls, has an accident, head injury. She does not have a power of attorney in place. Not having a power of attorney in place, my client then has to go to the probate court to get a formal appointment to be able to represent her in a conservatorship to sell her real estate. We finally got this thing done about a month ago, but the cost, the time, the effort to go through it was a complete nightmare. That's an extreme circumstance, but the idea being you want to be able to spot these issues right away. So a good thing that you can do if you're at all concerned about having issues on selling a property, get a title report right away. Find out how that title is actually vested and the steps that are needed. If proper planning has been done, a lot of times just a simple affidavit will correct the title. If it's a joint tenancy deed or community property, or if it's in a trust. If it's more complex, you want to know that, set the expectations for your clients right away, being able to sell a property. So,
The good news was the value went up.
the good news is the value did go up a little bit. Yes. And that was hence part of the reason in paying out the other heirs early, so they didn't get the upside on the rest of it.
That sounded like a Netflix series.
It can be, it can be. You know, when I see estates, it's a 50-50 proposition. 50% of the time, the family just wants to get along, let's get through the process and move along. The other half, there are one or more heirs who make the process a nightmare. So to avoid that, the key is always see an estate planning attorney well in advance, get a trust in place, get powers of attorney in place, get yourself protected from the probate courts. Sandy.
All right, so you know what I say, an attorney never asks a question unless he knows the answer. I'm a real estate broker or something. I ask the question and I kind of really don't know the answer, but I know I don't do it right. I get a lot of calls from you guys. It's very similar, but from a different perspective. I'm listing the house, the parents died. Can the children sign the listing agreement? Because the listing agreement is a little different from the purchase contract. It's illegal. And for those that have called, the first question I always ask is, do you know the people? Do you have a relationship with them, or are they total strangers? Because the real answer is no, they cannot sign without the proper documentation. But for us, if you know the people, you have a relationship, you can go ahead and do the listing, but you need to call the title company to find out who and how the proper signatories are. Right? So the real answer is they really shouldn't sign for somebody else on the listing agreement, but that's our papers.
So hang on right there. How long does it take, Julie, to get a title report?
It depends. I mean, we can do it on a rush and get it in 24 hours.
24 hours? Is there a charge for that?
Typically, yes, but for my good clients, no.
For your clients that haven't given you an escrow since May, how long would it take?
About 2 months and about...
All right, so a rush, 24 hours. But guys, you know, when I'm out there competing, I see books on the counter of my competitors. You guys know when they're interviewing 2 or 3 people, and there's books laying there with CC&Rs, plat maps, seller's property disclosure statement. You know, people bring this stuff to listing appointments. So if you're going to prepare properly and you already know that's coming, call your favorite title rep. There's a lot of people here. Jill, Julie, Chicago. Who else is? Yeah, thank you. Call them. Sounds like you should plan probably 3 days in advance to be safe and get that title report. Then highlight it, then go see Sandy, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, it's a great question. If you are going to take on a listing and the title has not formally vested, you want to have some disclosures signed in there and some outs, because you never know what other family member might come out of the woodwork and say, wait a minute, we are not going to honor this listing agreement. My best friend is a realtor, they can sell this, and then you're in a fight over who actually is going to list the property. So definitely want to do that with caution if you're taking on that side. Yeah. Nice way to build a business is through the probate courts. So as I mentioned at the start, there are a ton of properties passing through the probate court system. Like most court records, probate records are public as well, meaning that if you have clients that are looking to try and build an investment portfolio, or you're trying to do it personally, that can be a great place to find properties that most people don't go after. In a lot of probate situations, families aren't so concerned about getting the exact top dollar as just get the house sold, let's move on with the process. So what you can do is go to the probate courts, find a case, see what real property is in there, and then approach the personal representative, the person in charge of the family, and say, hey, we'd like to make an offer on your property, or go right to making an offer on a property. I've seen that work a lot of times as families just want to move on. They have a lot to deal with a death. Not only planning the funeral arrangements, dealing with personal property, all the financial accounts. If they can have something simple in getting a house sold, that's a great way to pick up properties at a really good value. Networking with estate planning attorneys and financial advisors, another great way to build a practice. I have clients that have homes all over the valley. If someone passes away in Glendale or Flagstaff or Pine or whatever the case may be, a lot of times we need agents to be able to transfer those properties. So networking with attorneys can be a great way to build a supplemental listing stream as well.
Do you go to probate.com?
Probate records are available online to a degree, or you can go into any one of the 5 probate courts. So the closest one here is going to be on Bell Road, and probably take you about 10 minutes to get there from here. You can always go in and, yep. And
Bell and 56.
Bell and, yep.
57,
Yep,
56.
exactly. So if you're going in and requesting documents there, it costs you a little bit of money. It's 50 cents per page, but depending on how you do it, if you go in and, again, as we saw from the calls, be persistent about making the calls, that's a great way to build a good listing database. I've seen some realtors almost exclusively focus on that and really become experts there. There's also a specific designation. If you really get into it, you can be a certified probate real estate specialist as well. That's one of the designations you could also look into to kind of help facilitate your business. So probate, estate planning, there are a ton of different directions to go with this topic. If you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer them earlier, happy to field phone calls from any of you. If you just get stuck or have questions on a listing, please let me know. But at this point, I'm sure there's a few questions we can go through in different situations you've seen or questions you may have. So, maybe anybody?
Handle short sales as well, quite well, as a matter of fact. So I didn't want you to leave without sharing that info.
I thought I had left those days behind. Yes, I do short sales as well.
I deal a lot in these properties, and one thing I'd just like to point out to the agents, don't put the cart before the horse. So don't get anxious in which to list a property for sale or something like that. Deal with your client, develop the trust and confidence in with them to begin with, because the listing could take you a year to get, just like he has pointed out, and you get too anxious, you get all your documentation, you do all your work and everything else, and you wasted all your time. So do a lot of due diligence before you get there, and the preliminary title report and developing an escrow number right away is very important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
A lot of issues happen. My client died during the time of purchase, so, and it went to probate. It only took about 3 months, but it was hold on to the buyer was really difficult. But, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. You think buyers are tough to keep engaged in a short sale process, trying a probate process,
Right.
and working through that.
Exactly.
Absolutely, very good point. Great.
Isn't there a beneficiary forms to avoid probate with family members, just simply to sign the beneficiary form and avoid everything?
Sure.
No
So
trust?
most states do not have what are called beneficiary deeds. Arizona is one of the few states that does. California just enacted those in 2016 as well. So probate, kind of go real quick on what avoids probate. So wills go to probate. Living trusts do not go to probate to the extent that they are funded, meaning assets are titled in the name of the trust prior to a death. Jointly owned items do not go to probate if there's rights of survivorship, a joint checking account, joint tenancy agreement. Beneficiary designations do not go to probate. So a beneficiary designation on a life insurance policy goes directly to that beneficiary, doesn't go under a will, doesn't go to probate. In Arizona, you can put a beneficiary on real estate. That works by recording what's called a beneficiary deed. Says, if I, Andrew, pass away and Dell survives me, my house goes to Dell. In that circumstance, all Dell has to do is record a single page affidavit that says I've passed and my death certificate, the property is his. And he can then sell it the next day.
Love that example.
The time holdup is only waiting on death certificates. Those are taking a while in Arizona. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks right now due to some backlogs there. But otherwise, once you have the death certificate, record that, you can sell the next day.
How does that affect someone who, let's say, they're not married, so one person's on a deed and the other person isn't, and they do the beneficiary to make sure that person has the house when they pass away? How does that affect then the kids that may be on both parties? Does it then mean that whoever this beneficiary's children would get the house when he dies or she dies? I mean, there's that process also to think about, I would think.
There are, at root here is, particularly if you have a relationship with someone but you have children from a prior relationship, those children are going to have some right to your assets that are going through the probate court. In a situation where you put a beneficiary on, that's a non-probate transaction. That goes directly to the person. So for those children to go and undo that transaction, they're going to have to file a separate lawsuit alleging that there's been some type of fraud or that deed was ineffective. So it depends on the situation. Generally, beneficiary or things in a trust, those are going to cut off challenges to a great degree. But you've got to kind of get into specifics there to address that.
How do you file a beneficiary deed? Or where do you get it, or who you go to?
Sure. You can look at forms online. Certainly you can contact attorneys to prepare those. The document is simply recorded with the county recorder. Costs you $18 to record it. You're done and set.
Can you put more than one person as a beneficiary?
You can list more than one person as a beneficiary. You can list a trust as a beneficiary. You just have to comply with some certain requirements that say, all right, if one of those beneficiaries deceased, where does their share go? Does it go to the others? Does it go to their children? Is the beneficiary deed void? Next.
If the asset, the property is in a revocable living trust, is there any benefit to changing it to that type of beneficiary deed?
Yeah. So the question is, if a property is already in a trust, do you then want to put that beneficiary deed on? Answer is generally no. Because a property deeded into a trust, it's going to pass outside of the probate court and to the beneficiaries listed for that property in the trust. Only if you wanted to leave it outside your trust to someone else would you consider doing that. Let's say maybe you've done well and you want to make a charitable gift, so you want to leave that house to a charity outside of your trust. You could do that, but there's certainly no requirement to, no different benefits.
We have time just for a couple more questions. So.
Can a non-U.S. citizen living abroad be a beneficiary to a property here in Scottsdale?
So, non-U.S. citizens, can they be beneficiaries? Absolutely. However, there are specific things that we have to watch out for. One, anytime a property is being left to a non-U.S. citizen, the IRS always comes out of the woods and says, wait a minute, as property is being transferred outside the U.S., we want to make sure any tax has been paid, so you can have issues there. And then also with estate taxes and inheritance taxes, it's going to depend on the particular country and even to a degree the state the person resided in. So that's a case by case on what that exactly looks like.
Andrew, when someone inherits a house through a will or beneficiary deed, if there's debt on the house, that doesn't go away, right?
Correct. Any
So
secured
the
debt
beneficiary
stays.
still inherits the debt also, right?
Yes. Beneficiary doesn't inherit the debt, so you don't become responsible for the debt just because you've inherited a property with a loan on it. However, if you don't pay, of course, the bank can proceed with some foreclosure proceedings. Important point here, if there's a home with a loan on it, even if the surviving spouse, the kids, if they're paying it, keeping it current, That's great until you get it sold. Do not let your clients call their bank and say, hey, this person passed away, we're gonna keep paying the loan though. Reason being, there's a clause in most loan documents that says, okay, due on, yep, someone has passed, this loan is now accelerated, due in full. The bank
Wait,
won't.
due on what?
Due on death. So
Due on death.
So
Wow.
it's now an estate.
I heard
So-
due on sale.
Yeah, due on death. So now, this whole thing is due in full. So don't ever call up the bank and tell them anything.
Is it fair to say, because this is my in-laws, that as long as the mortgage is being paid, they really don't care?
They don't care. As long as the payments are coming in, they do not care. All right.
Last question.
Okay. I have a situation where there are 4 children, and they are now on the deed after their mother died. And one of them is wanting to put in her will that upon her death, her kids get, their portion of it. Well, it's a joint tenancy right of survivorship. So once she would die, wouldn't the other 3 be the ones that own it?
Yes, so you've got 4 kids on title, joint tenants with right of survivorship. That means at this point, if one of them passes, their ownership interest goes to the survivors. One of the owners wants to break that and have their share go to their children instead. They would have to file a document severing the joint tenancy with the county recorder. They then they could do a beneficiary deed potentially, that their share goes to their children. The issue there, the other owners are probably not going to be happy about it, especially if their sibling passes away and leaves the property to minor children. Then all of a sudden, you've got guardians involved, you've got conservators, probate court, even though you've tried to avoid it. These situations come up a lot when you have siblings or multiple levels of family owning a property. Inevitably, somebody wants to transfer an interest or somebody wants to sell an interest and the others don't. A lot of times that ends up going through a land sale proceeding in court, just so everyone can wrap their minds around the fact that a court is going to order someone, like a licensed realtor, to sell that property. They're going to have to split it up pursuant to their ownership shares, but that happens quite often.
All right.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
And our agents, if they have a specific question, what's the best way to reach out to you?
I've got some cards up front, but I also have our firm contact info on the front page of the handout there. So general office number, call in, ask for me, be happy to chat with you or set an appointment with you or your clients.
Okay,
And
thank you so much.
when you forget to call Andrew, and you don't remember, you can just call me because I've got access.
Very good.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, this is our time for Sandy Carpin. He gets to go up and give his little broker message. He said that he's going to keep it within
I
5
got
minutes.
Yes, good timing on that. So Deborah Adamson is not here today, but if you see her, wish her congratulations. She reached another milestone in the RE/MAX world. She just received the Hall of Fame award. So Hall of Fame is when you have earned $1 million or greater in commissions earned. So she's the latest and the newest member of our team to reach that achievement. So she's not here. I would have presented her with a nice plaque, but congratulations to Deborah. R4. It's a little soon. We're not going to have a meeting in December. January is our kickoff for the year. So right after that, in February, is R4. For those that have been in the past, I think it's well worth going. For those that have not, think about it. It's a little expensive, but I think it's really worth your efforts and your time. So start thinking about R4. It's the last week of February. It's a Monday through Thursday. So whatever that last week of February is, and it ends on Thursday, which is usually the 1st or the 2nd of March. And if you've never seen Kelly Hennessy at the bars or Kelly Porter at the bars, it's a trip to see.
It wasn't Hennessy, it was me.
Oh, it was Porter?
It was Kelly's one.
She's-
I was born first. I'm 9 years older than her. It was me.
Anything else you want to know? I didn't have much prepared today, so tell me what your questions are. What do you have for me? Because you guys call me all the time, and I'm loving your questions. So, did you get your deal done? Are we good?
No,
All
not
right.
yet.
Go ahead.
We have 14 more days.
All right.
And I'm counting every minute. I don't have a question, I just wanted to thank you and tell everybody that we are very lucky to have Sandy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I owe him a couple of margaritas.
Who else owes me margaritas? You owe me margaritas.
I do owe you.
Yes, you do.
I owe you some too.
You owe me.
I do too.
Let's all just
Have a margarita party.
Wait, you owe me drinks.
There you go.
So instead of giving it to him, you can just give it to me.
But listen, anybody have any questions for me? Anything going on in your world that you want to share, or questions, issues? You're going to call me anyway, you might as well ask me now. We'll get a consensus. I was in New York last week. I don't think most of you knew that. I have, I guess I'm living my time. There's a difference when I'm on vacation and I have a getaway. When I'm on vacation, because a lot of you called me and said, thanks for taking your call, I know you're on vacation. No, if I was on vacation, I wouldn't be taking your calls. So when I have a getaway, I go away, I take your calls, I check your paperwork. So even in the subway system of New York, I was watching your content.
Yeah, you took my call.
So I did,
know
right in the heart of Manhattan, yes.
Did you do the marathon in New York?
No, that was the week before, I didn't do it this year.
Oh.
Come on, real estate questions, you guys gonna call me later today. Wow, Dale, you gotta have something.
No.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So you know, if you do an owner carryback on a free and clear property,
It has to be free and clear.
well, that'd be a wrap. But yes, in this situation, it's free and clear. Is a 1-year balloon an adjustment in the interest rate?
Yeah, I'll send you an email. I don't really know all the rules. If you ever do a carryback, just call me. There's an email I sent out a long time ago, and I'll send it again and again. The rules change all the time. 1 carryback per owner per 12 months. You can't charge, the interest rate can't be more than 6% or 16% of what the prime rate is. You could balloon it in 5 years or 3 years. I think you can do that. But there's a whole set of rules, and it gets complicated. You know, it's. I think the rules are relaxing now, and with this Trump administration, I think that thing's going to go away. It's going to be like the old days for the most part, where if you own your house free and clear, the government does have the right to tell you what you can and can't do if you're going to lend money to somebody. But there are a set of rules, and if you do a carryback, just call me and I'll set you up with exactly what the rules are.
I have a buyer that went online and was looking at a property that is in MLS. It is going to auction. It's an on-bid process online. He went in and, before I knew him, registered online with the auction company. He now wants representation by an agent. I didn't know whether the answer, since he registered first, but yet it's multi-list advertised with a 3% co-op, can he register my name, or is it registration make a difference?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think if anything, we've had something similar to that. We would get paid through the MLS. But you know how you go to home builders? It could be, where's Andy? Is she here today? So this is kind of a similar way. Andy Cole registered somebody at Toll Brothers as a registration. It was also in the MLS. Registered in, right? It says that you, on the registration form, you get paid for the base price only, minus incentives, minus lot premiums, and so on. But the house that her client bought was the one that was in MLS. When Annie got paid, she got paid like $120,000 less than what the purchase contract was. So we called up the broker of Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers is just a class operation. They went into it, they researched it, no problems, no questions asked. They paid her on the MLS. So because that's a different contract, then I don't know how auction houses work. So it's worth a phone call to find out, but we still get paid by way of MLS.
They'll pay you, you just, all you do is you register yourself as an agent, and then you register your client even though they're registered.
Okay.
And then you bid for them.
Okay.
And then when it closes, title pays you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have $3,600.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. She owes me a margarita too.
Tequila is the theme here.
All right, anybody else? Anything else? All right, you're gonna call me, I can tell. You're gonna call me today. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. We're going to start, I know this is very strange, I usually start on this side. I'm going to start over on this side with Rebecca. So we're going to start off, go all the way around, and we have our spotlight vendors right afterwards.
Perfect. Good morning. I'm Rebecca Niesling with Allstate Insurance. I think a lot of you in this room know me. My team is growing. I now have 8 licensed agents in my office, so if you need anything, please call. Also, if anybody needs contract law hours next week, we have a CE class, so pick up a flyer. And then I also have a brochure here. Fine Properties has got a fantastic E&O policy. This, for $225 a year, is everything E&O does not cover. So if you have questions, I'll be here after.
And is that the
Thanks.
general liability? Is that what that is?
It is.
Okay, thank you.
And cyber risk.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Jill.
Good morning, everybody. Jill Bragg.
Holly Wilson, Chicago Title.
So you guys all, I think, got the email this morning. I have a big Silverleaf tour tomorrow. We have 12 homes ranging from 1.5 to 5.5. So if you want to attend, we've got a great turnout for that. There's also on Thursday another event in 100 Hills, which there's 5 homes that are going to be held open over $1 million. Bill Gray next week. Everybody's trying to cram everything in before the holidays. So.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. And we do have agents from our office that are on the tour, correct?
Yep.
So go out and help support on the luxury tour there.
Yep.
I have nothing
Sorry, go
else. Not a happy Thanksgiving.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Sharon Wolf Furman, AJF Engineering and Inspections, your home termite and commercial inspectors. As always, we love you guys and truly appreciate all of you and your clients. A couple quick reminders that when things come up, please make sure that if your clients are getting the recall check, that they're utilizing their warranties. And we've had some things come up within the 90 days, and we're finding that it really does work. That RWS is paying for certain things that come up that you wouldn't expect, so that it's in addition to whatever your home warranty is. And if you're unsure, please don't hesitate to call me or send me an email on how that works. And we have added several more inspectors. We have a couple in boot camp. Another one just got out of boot camp. So we do have 14 guys. So hopefully that will help with some of the scheduling when it was really crazy and we were doing some juggling. But remember, you're all really important to us. Call, leave messages anytime, and we'll get you in.
Sharon?
Thank you.
One other thing, I don't think a lot of people realize when you guys do a termite inspection along with your home inspection, that comes with a 1-year warranty.
Yes, 1-year warranty on the termite. It's for
comes up.
spot treat, and they will stand behind it. That portion is covered by Strike Force because we don't treat, so strictly independent. But thank you, David.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave. Mary.
Good morning, everybody. Mary Boyens, Likey Fidelity National Warranty. If you keep information at home, these are the new brochures. Still getting a few questions. Our price changed a couple of months ago. So, and on a totally different note, thank you to Kelly and to Leslie, who last year rang the bell at my kettle. If you want to ring the bell for the Salvation Army on Wednesdays, it starts the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. And I don't know my location yet, but I would love to have volunteers to help me cover my hours at the kettle. Thank you.
Yeah, Wendy.
Hi, good morning. Wendy Crackiola with Get Your Move On Moving and Storage, and also Plush, our new brand. Derek Green and I we divided and conquered today. He's up at another tour, and I'm here to just brag a little bit about the company that he owns and I represent. We do great moving, we do storage, we do downsizing, we do packing, tons of integrity. We stand behind your clients. We make sure that we deliver, that they are happy, and it all looks good on you if you guys refer us. So if you have any questions or need any information, I have it all right here. But if you referred us, thank you so much. We have a move for Christine tomorrow. We're going to take great care of her clients. And our boys walk in the house and they make people feel relaxed and less stressed. And so we really vet our guys deeply. We train them deeper, and we make sure that that experience is as good as it can be. Because moving is not fun. But we make it sexy, right?
Have you seen Derek? No.
Good morning, Julie LaRosa with Stewart Title. Just wanted to give everyone a reminder that Thursday, the Scottsdale Luxury Home Tour meets at Ancala at 8:30 a.m., homes 800,000 and above. And it is our last tour for 2017. So if you haven't been, it's a great opportunity to come see some homes. We've got great speakers this month. We have the marketing manager from Scottsdale Fashion Square talking about all their plans and building and everything. So come join us if you can. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Home Point Financial, we have Sean and Jason.
Hello, Sean Woolen, Home Point Financial. Jason Glassion, Home Point Financial, obviously. I'm excited to be here today. Thanks. We're one of your new marketing partners, so we look forward to getting to know more of you. And we're always available if you have questions.
Absolutely. Been around here a long time. I know a lot of you for a long time. So we're just happy to be part of you and part of your team. And we'll be doing a little presentation here as long as that goes around.
Thank you.
I'm supposed to out for Deanna, hazing, photography, and drone, and all that kind of stuff.
And Julia Walker's not here today. She has all-day classes, so Julia Walker's not here. Ben.
Ben Tobias with Fairway Mortgage. This is Christy Carty. She does business development with our team as well. Last couple of months we've sat down with a fair amount of agents in the office that we've done business with, talk about being a full-fledged partner with you guys, open house flyers, online lead generation, software you can use to try to help grow your databases. Something Del mentioned obviously about lead gen. We have a dialer. If you're working with your sphere of influence, a loan officer is going to call them directly, like myself. But if you have online lead gen, if you have a larger amount of leads that need to be hit on the phones 5-6 times before you get on the phone, we have that in our office too. Or we're just trying to set up appointments. But it kind of helps you partner up to get them on the horn. At least sometimes it does take a little while to get in contact with certain types of people. So feel free to reach out to us if you want to sit down and talk more about those things. We'll continue to reach out to you guys and love to earn your business.
Thanks, Ben. Tara.
Hi, Tara Carter, Old Republic Home Protection. How many of you have your business plan for 2017? Show of hands. 17. 18. Oh, 2018, sorry. Yeah. Okay, 2018, show your hands.
I was so proud of Greg, and I'm like,
I heard 2017. Yes, I did.
Well, I have a class coming up November 30th, and you will walk out of there with a business plan. If it's something that you're interested in, come give me your card and I'll get you registered. It is free, so come see me.
All right, thanks, Tara. Jen.
Good morning, everybody. Jen Weller from Fidelity National Title. Dallas Griffin had a conflict, so she's here in spirit. I just want to remind everybody, if you didn't get my email, that I have a CE class today from 1 to 4 on the secrets of MLS. It's a 3-hour credit, and you can actually use it in your business. I've had some agents come 2 and 3 times because it's so good. Brett Woolley does it. So get a Dara 1 to 4 p.m. and you'll hear from me here in a little bit. So.
Thank you.
Scott.
Scott Dusenberry with CNN Mortgage. Tiffany, my partner, couldn't make it this morning. She's taking her, like Julia, licensing class. Really, we just wanted to say thank you. We did the math this morning. We have 15 buyers, RE/MAX buyers, either under contract or out looking for houses, referrals from you guys. That's awesome. So thank you. We appreciate the partnership.
Thank you. One of the reasons that we really kind of have everybody come up here and talk is that everybody around the room helps support our company all year long. And without their support, there's a lot of things that we're not able to do. So please, if you don't have someone that you're working with on a regular basis, give them an opportunity. This is a way of saying thank you for your support to us for the year, and you just kind of give that back. So that's one of the main reasons that we really do have them stand up and talk and give that information. So one of the other things that we do is a spotlight vendor. We have November's and December's this time because December, of course, we have our holiday party. So we're going to start off with our November, which is Jen.
Good morning, everybody. So first, on that note, I just want to say thank you to everybody that does work with Fidelity. It's all about relationships in this business, and thank you for everyone that does send business our way when you're writing those contracts. And if you're not working with us, please consider us as a plan B. We're constantly out there trying to find new and innovative ways to make you guys better at your business or get more. So before I talk about a new resource that we have, I just want to make sure you guys know our Scottsdale locations. We have 3 offices in Scottsdale. One is Scottsdale Road in Lincoln, our PV office, Lisa Boyle, who's been around forever, and she's amazing. Then we have our Kierland office, Jennifer Coppola, who many of you know. We had moved across the street from the promenade behind Grab a Green and Tokyo Joe's over there. And then we have our new office that just moved to Pinnacle Peak and Miller. That's Mercy Perry's office, and we have 4 fabulous escrow officers out of there. So I feel like I'm a matchmaker sometimes. I assess your personality in our escrow officers and try to get the right match. So before I talk about a resource we have that's brand new, because of what Andrew Spittler said, I want to make sure you guys know about our Data Shop program. Data Shop is an amazing program. There's no cost to you, and you can search basically 24 hours a day, 50 states by owner name, address, or parcel number. So if you have somebody, like for example, I had someone in my family pass away on my husband's side, and they had quite a bit of property. They didn't even know all what they owned. I could just search by the trust name, and I found lots that they didn't really know existed. So that's a great resource. Just reach out to me or Dallas, and we can get you set up with that very easily. So what's new and exciting, we have something that we just got 2 weeks ago, and it's a new farming tool. And they just rolled it out in California, and it's been going amazing, and we're so happy that we have it here. And you can use it for your sphere of influence, or if you have a farm area that you want to dominate, we can upload it into the system, and it will refresh that farm by parcel number twice a month. It will show you the last 20 sales in the area, and there's also a premium lead side of it that you have an option to buy, and we have marriages, birth, divorce, and death. That's never happened before with all 4 of those, and it's not Revo Gateway, because that can do the divorce and the other probate, yes. So those leads are expensive. They're $5 a piece for that arm of it. And you have to buy them in $50 increments, but you don't have to use that side of it. You can still upload everything into the system and it will watch it. So if you are interested in testing this out, we're still learning it as well. Just reach out to myself or Dallas and we can get you set up. You could just leave a card and write the new farm in my desk over here, and we'll get you guys set up. So Jen Weller, love to work with you guys. Right now what you do is for 2018, so let's hit it hard and make it a great year, even better than this year. So thank you, everybody.
So our December spotlight vendor is Home Point Financial. Like we said, they're just coming on board with this, so if you do have a lender, think of them as a plan B or a backup quarterback or whatever you want to think about. But they definitely work with them. I've worked with them personally. I know a lot of other agents have worked with them as well. So, Sean and Jason.
No pause yet?
Don't earn it.
I'll earn it, I promise you that.
We just don't give them out.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here. Sean Woland and Jason Glashen. I'm the branch manager of the Scottsdale office, and my team has been in the lending industry here in the Valley for 16 years, 2 in title. Go way back to Dell, Darren, David, and the clan back when they were Coldwell Banker Brothers, back in 99, 2000, 2001, all those times. So definitely, I wouldn't be here if they didn't trust us, so you can definitely, trust is a big thing for us. So who we are, we're a mortgage banker. So everything's done in-house. We have our own servicing. We service $39 billion in loans. So we've got that covered. I think what makes us different, makes us unique, is the experience. So when you send us a lead, to us that lead needs to be stamped with a commitment and the work ethic and the desire to make sure that they continue to come back to you and say thank you for referring me to Sean Wool, and he was great. We are a extension of you. And if we're not building that trust and going above and beyond on the customer experience, then we're not doing our jobs as a lender. We can all close on time. We can all have our Santa Claus bag of tricks that we can give you to help you guys with your business. But it comes down to, can you trust the lender that you're working with? And are they going to deliver a paycheck to you on time? And will they continue the referrals back to you and not blow up your business? So that's what we take a lot of pride in. And as your partner, I know I work with like Dave, I work with you. They trust in me to make sure that paycheck comes and their customers are happy. And the things we do in the process that we've designed is built completely upon the customer experience. And I can go over that whole experience for you. In fact, I'll email you what that looks like on our team so you can kind of see how we do things differently. One of the things is a thing called the Real Qual. It's something we integrate into every transaction. And Jason, you want to tell them that? Yeah, I've worked for companies in the past where an underwriter won't even look at a file until you have a whole file, you have a property, you pretty much have everything in order. We have a product called Real Qual where we're going to, before actually we have a purchase contract. A lot of underwriters don't want to be bogged down with anything until they actually have a file. We're going to submit the buyer's file with income, assets, any divorce decrees, anything like that that's pertinent to the file. We're going to send that in, and we're going to typically get something back from an underwriter within 24 to 48 hours. Mm-hmm. So we're going to actually have pretty much a full approval, other than obviously appraisal and contract, etc. So it's a great feature. I've worked for other companies in the past where even getting CDs out is a chore. We're trying to get CDs out within 2 weeks prior to closing. So We do our best to try to make the process as smooth as possible.
Really?
And get everything done in a timely fashion. Obviously, there's situations where that doesn't happen. We need to actually go through the whole entire process. Tricky files, obviously, we've all had those.
Yeah, so a lot of companies have TBDs that you can do. You can submit to be determined to an underwriter. But we have an entire underwriting staff dedicated to just pre-quals. So it's not, you're not sitting on a desk waiting 3 or 4 days. It's, where's my deal? I want to approve it in 24 hours. So we're waiving in the financing contingencies. The 2 weeks, as soon as the loan's approved, we can get the CD out. A lot of companies do that, but we'll make sure we're adamant on that. We just want to do things differently. We want to make sure that when your customers fall in love with a house, a cash offer doesn't come and slip it out from underneath. When their kids are in the room, they're picking out their rooms and they're fighting over which room's going to be theirs, and then the next day, sorry, we got beat out on an offer that had all the boxes checked. You didn't get all your stuff to the lender. Well, with us, they're fully approved through underwriting. We do a separate letter on top explaining the process, explaining the difference. Yes?
A real world example, Sean, just a couple weeks ago with Lynette, a buyer that Sean pre-qualified for us, went into a house in Tatum Ranch that was new to the market first weekend, multiple offers. And because of Sean's positioning of basically putting this buyer as equivalent as a cash buyer through the Real Qual program, they got the house over the other offers.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Real qual.
Real qual.
Basically same as cash, you can present them as, you can even waive the appraisal contingencies.
And it's on every pre-qual that's sent to us. It's not just a onesie twosie. Every single pre-qual that we send, that you send to us, will be done that way.
Well, and I'll just throw this out there. So I just did an absorption rate study. All of the Valley, single family detached, active, like 16,700 homes. Take that by how many homes closed in the month of October. You have a 3.9%, 3.9 months. 6 is called even Steven. Under 6 becomes a strong seller's market. We're in a seller's market. So that, when you got that buyer, right, why not get the listing agent on the phone, conference in your mortgage broker, and sell it with them on the phone during your offer stage, right? He's got everything, he's ready to go. This home has a 98%, probably whatever, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an offer, give me the agent's number that you're making the offer to, and let me call them.
Well, and don't think the listing agents aren't calling them.
Yeah, they call me all the time.
Well, yeah, but don't, you know.
But if we're proactive,
yes,
and we're calling first,
Well, the listing agents
Are they?
call the
Yeah.
mortgage broker to verify the information, so you want to make sure you're working with someone that's responsive and has the answers.
Yeah, and have your buyers sign that pre-qual letter. A lot of the ones that I come over aren't signed. When I represent the listing, they're not signed at the upper. All right.
And we've got our Santa Claus bag of tricks too, with all the other marketing and fun stuff, and everything's fine-tuned to each of your business, so we don't just vomit it on you. But I'd love to sit with you guys and show you why we're different. So thank you for your time today.
Can I add one more thing? One situation I came into recently is we need an appraisal done right away. And the nice feature that we have, and Sean implemented it in our branch, is we actually ordered the appraisal on our dime before disclosures were even sent, just so we could satisfy the requirement from the listing side. So we got the appraisal done. The agent that I was dealing with, their buyer, went to about 2 or 3 other lenders, and they said they couldn't get it done because of the appraisal. They have to wait until the disclosures are out, etc. So we were able to secure a deal based on something Sean implemented as far as ordering the appraisal.
Cool. It's important too to not have the appraisal hold up the timeline, because, and we understand, well, that's money out of their pocket, right? I mean, my customer doesn't want to spend money on an appraisal if the property inspection goes bad. But we also want to close on time. So why not, you go ahead and order the appraisal on our dime. If during the inspection it cancels, we'll lead it, or we'll take care of it for you. We don't want an appraisal or anything else to hinder the timeline for closing. That's basically behind it. I know if they find another house, they'll still go through us. So, all right, just keep that in mind. Thanks, guys.
Oh, don't forget about the happy
one
hour.
more thing. Oh, between the hours of 4 and 6 today at Market Street Kitchen, we are holding happy hour, and there'll be food, there'll be drinks, and enjoy it on us. So we'd like to get to know you guys more between 4 and 6 today at Market Street Kitchen right here, DC Ranch. It's just on the southwest corner. So I'll see you there. Yeah. Yeah. Real qual, like a real qualification.
Yeah, like pre-qual, real qual.
Instead of pre-qual, it's real qualification.
Real qual.
Like a real qualification, not just a pre.
Come on, guys, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm saying it right. Real qual.
Yeah.
Real qual.
Okay? Are you going to do the 2 weeks, like in a cash deal?
Yeah, we can. Well,
no.
we can do it within
You guys can talk about that later.
within the regulatory.
All right, so hey, real quick, I'll let you guys down. D.R. Horton was supposed to be here today. There were some agents that specifically wanted to hear it right from them. This is the best I could do. They're really keeping it kind of tight-lipped, very similar to is it Sky? What's it called?
Sky Crossing.
Yeah, Sky Crossing. 2 big developments that are going to really affect everybody in this room. I will get them here for a meeting, but they don't have any other information. I think a lot of new home builders are kind of repositioning their price points because of the absorption rate that I just told you. I don't know if you guys saw the paper today, but the construction industry is back to an unemployment base pre-2006.
Right.
So it's crazy. The 2 hurricanes have crushed that employment sector. Texas, Florida, crazy for construction workers. So what does that mean? That means that there's a huge demand, but the builders aren't going to be able to keep it up because of lack of, employment base. So anyway, that's the best I could do.
Lotteries are back too on all of them.
Yeah. So lottery, yeah, good point. All right, so I wanted to apologize for that. Secondly, you see the RE/MAX resume in there. You want to put this as part of your listing presentation to go over it and show all the offices, right? You want to sell the philanthropy. So come to these meetings, and every time you're going to get something in your box that will help you build a listing presentation. Lastly, lead gen idea. This last business planning I had on Thursday, I went back 8 months in your favorite, whatever your favorite zip code is. Go back 8 months and pull residential homes that leased. Because what's going to happen 4 months from now at a residential home 8 months ago that was leased?
They're either going to sell it
They're going to
or release it.
Exactly. So put that in your farm base now. Go back 8 months and find out who leased their properties in your favorite zip codes. Recycle those back. Now you can't door knock those because who's in them? The tenant. But you can. I know. I have to point that out because I'm trying to give you guys the whole demeanor, right? So you find out that John Evans owns it, and then you can look at his mailing address. The mailing address is probably not the home address that he just rented, right? Because he's living where?
California.
Somewhere else. Track him down and say, hey, Chase with RE/MAX Fine Properties, what are you going to do when this home comes up 120 days from now? You're going to release it, or are you going to sell it? And start getting them in that incubation period. Who was in that business planning meeting? All right, Frank, okay, all right. How many did we have in that zip code I searched? I think it was 53.
Oh, I wasn't in that one.
Okay, all right. So now I gave those 53 leads to Pam. She's going to bill me probably $2.50 a lead for name, address, and phone number. Jill, you were in that meeting, weren't you? Okay. Then I'm going to call those back this Thursday, and then I'll tell you the results. But you should never, yes.
You can door knock the tenant, they might want to buy.
I like it. And then you can ask them for the landlord's information. So here's the thing, you don't have to spend money. You can do things organically. It just depends on how much you want to dive into it, right? But yeah, absolutely. You can door knock the tenant and say, hey, I see you're 120 days out. Now on that model, I would even go back like just 6 months. I think 120 days out, you're late. But if you wanted to work the tenant, I would go the half-year mark on that.
And get it with a good lender immediately.
Yes. There are so many different ways to lead generate. You should never be sitting at your desk thinking, what am I going to do next? If that's the case, come to business planning or call me. All right, guys, go get them. See you at the holiday party.
11:30 this